Tom Windsor, the head or the ex-head of the inspectorate, actually made the point just before he retired that 80% of police time is not devoted to crime, only 20% is. And if you talk to officers at the sharp end of policing, those on response, for example, who go to stabbings all too frequently, they will tell you that their time is taken up with other matters. Welfare calls, for example. Mental health is a massive problem for police. They want to be catching criminals. But the demands on police from when I was a young PC have grown hugely, massively.
Yeah.
So many times you hear people say to the police service, you need to do more. You need to do more on this. You need to do more on that. You need to do more on all sorts of things. And there aren't the resources to do it.
No, there aren't. And it's always a very, very tricky balance. And for me personally, I hope I always kind of traverse this tightrope well, which is not actually blaming the bobbies on the beat, as it were, but, you know, looking at maybe systemic failures when it comes to the police. Because I'm absolutely certain that, look, no one, in my opinion anyway, no one would go into the police force, would they, if they didn't want to stop crime? Presumably, you're not well paid enough with the best will in the world to go into it as an out and out career choice. It's not a hedge fund, is it?
Well, no, it's not. I mean, that's the basic reason people join. People want to join the police to catch criminals, to help people. A lot of police time is devoted to helping people, but not catching criminals. And even when you catch a criminal, the bureaucracy that is involved in dealing with that prisoner, you might have seen it sometimes on these police programmes. When I took a prisoner in, say, for threatening behaviour or drunk and disorderly, I'd be in and out within about half an hour.
Right.
Shoplifter, maybe an hour. These days, often you can write police officers off for the rest of their shift.
Goodness.
And then they have to go to the Crown Prosecution Service, who very often, and they've been hit by cuts as well, in fairness to them, will say, no further action, not in the public interest to proceed. Even where police officers are badly assaulted, sometimes the CPS will come back, no further action, we don't want to proceed with this. So obviously police morale takes a bit of a knock when you put a lot of hard work into a case and it ends up going absolutely nowhere and the criminal walks free. So it's a very, very frustrating time at the moment for police on the front line.
And one of the frustrations some police may have had is not being able to effectively use stop and search powers in their fullness. And we know that Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, is now sort of enhancing those Section 60 stop and search powers. Just give us some reaction to that, because as I mentioned just about 10 minutes ago, it is very controversial for lots of racial reasons, isn't it?
Well, that's right, it is. And I just caught the tail end of your programme. Unfortunately, young black men are horrendously likely, more likely to be victims of stabbings, shootings and frankly, murder than young white men of a comparable, 24 times more likely, I think it is.
Wow.
I don't think that Priti Patel's proposals on stop and search will make a huge amount of difference, just extending the time for a Section 60. Normally that's after something like a stabbing or a shooting or where one is anticipated. It will make some difference. And I think what it does is also sends a message to police that there is some support at the top for stop and search. Because as you've just been just shown, the negativity that surrounds it is colossal. And the people who are so negative around stop and search seem to say very little about the carnage that is going on our streets.
Yep.
And one police officer tweeted, I think, yesterday or the day before, that his main motivation for stop and search is he doesn't want to be standing over young men, mainly young black men, packing their stab wounds, trying to stop bleeding or performing CPR. That's his motivation for stop and search. But you won't get the activists agreeing with that point of view.
No, which is insane, isn't it? But yeah.